And here's what I've learned throughout my life. The sheriff is probably the most important election we all can vote in. And I've learned that from guys like, I grew up in Hillsville, Michigan, so I'm not too far away from here. But my dad's here. I don't know where Dad's at. And he's back there. Then John Rutan, who's a constitutional sheriff coach from that area too. They've gotten to know Mike, and so I got to know Mike because I trust people who teach constitutional law, constitutional literacy, and especially teach sheriffs how to operate within the constitutional authority that they have. And so Mike was studying all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, here's a guy that is studying what the sheriff really can and cannot do. And I think that we all saw the power of the sheriffs in COVID. When COVID hit in 2020, 2021, you could see the difference between freedom and tyranny when the government was coming in trying to tell one county had to do something, and there would be a constitutional sheriff that would say, excuse me, Mr. Governor or Mr. President or Mayor, you can't do that, not on my watch, because I'm the sheriff and the highest law enforcement official in the county. And there was freedom. We saw that in Hamilton County. Our sheriff stood up to the tyrannical shutdowns, the mask mandates, the unconstitutional edicts that were not law. They were just a governor in his pen, and he couldn't do it. And yet he tried to, and the sheriff of Hamilton County stood up and said, you're not able to do this, and we're not going to let you do this in Hamilton County. And he protected us. We were able to continue to live our life with the liberty God has given us because our sheriff stood up. And so that's what you need in your sheriff. And I'm confident a guy like Mike is going to be that sheriff for this county, for Steuben County, and he will protect your liberties. God forbid we ever go through a time like that again, but we never know what's on the horizon. And that's why we got to make sure that we have great, constitutionally apt people who know how to defend those God-given rights, because it's government's job to secure those rights. Government does not give you rights. God gives you rights. The government's job is to secure those God-given rights, and so you got to elect great people, and Mike's going to be one of those great guys. I've gotten to talk with him many times over, and I can tell he knows what he's doing when it comes to being a sheriff, and he knows the history of the sheriff, and I think that's important too. You know, where it came from, what the founders were envisioning. The sheriff is the only law enforcement official leader that answers to the people in the Constitution. The superintendent of state police answers to a politician, the governor, right? The chief of police in the city answers to a politician, the mayor. But it's the sheriff who answers to you and the Constitution, and that's it. And so that's why this election is so important. So you got to get out and you got to support guys like Mike. And in this county specifically, if you elect Mike to be your sheriff, and Lord willing you will, he will defend those liberties. I'm confident of that. So get behind him financially. People always say one of the biggest things you need when you're running for an office is you need money. Why is that? Because it is a marketing competition. That's really what it is, right? So you need money, and then you need people to get out and tell their friends and family about Mike Meeks. So if you have money, give it to Mike. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that right now. If you don't have money, go out and tell your friends and family to get to the polls and support a guy like Mike, and then tell them if they have money, they need to give it to Mike. All right? So
I didn't know what he was going to say about that.
I'm not the candidate here. I can say all the things, and I can just leave. So, but no, he's going to do a great job. So thank you for coming out here, Mike. We are with you. We support what you're doing. You're going to make a great sheriff. You're going to serve Indiana well, and you're going to protect the liberties of Hoosiers. And you will be actually not just protecting Steuben County. You'll be showing the rest of the state how to actually govern in a way that honors God and protects the Constitution and the people thereof. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you all for coming out tonight. It's an honor to be with you. So give it up for Mike Meeks one more time.